Tell me something honestly. Is there something in your life that you are holding on to, even though deep inside, it is slowly killing you? Maybe it is a memory. Maybe it is a grief. Maybe it is a version of yourself that stopped existing a long time ago, but you still visit every single day. We hold on to things because letting go feels like losing, feels like betrayal, feels like, if we release it, it was never real. But what if the thing you are holding is not keeping something alive? What if it is keeping you dead? Today's story is about an old man who understood this truth in the most unexpected way possible. Stay with us until the very end, because the 7 words he spoke will stay with you long after this video ends. In a quiet mountain village, where the air smelled of pine trees and wood smoke, there lived an old man named Joseph, 78 years old. His house sat at the top of a gentle hill, stone walls, dark timber roof, oak trees all around, that he had planted with his own hands. As a young man of 20, inside that house, every room breathed with memory. A wooden chair by the fireplace, built the year his son was born. Photographs covering every wall. And in the corner, one chair, facing the window, a coat on the hook by the door, reading glasses on the windowsill, and on the small table, cup, unwashed, for 13 years. Because 13 years ago, his wife Maria died. She was sitting in that chair, head resting gently to one side, a half-finished cup of tea beside her, when Joseph found her. He stood in the doorway for a very long time, and then, without saying it out loud, without even fully realizing it, he made a decision. If he kept everything exactly as it was, she would never truly be gone. So the house became a museum, and Joseph became its prisoner. His children stopped visiting as often, not because they stopped loving him, but because every time they walked through that door, the air felt like grief made solid. His grandchildren sat on the edges of chairs, spoke in whispers, and counted the minutes until they could leave. At night, when the village went quiet, Joseph would sit in his chair, across from hers, and talk to the empty space. The grandchildren came today, Maria. The little one is getting so tall. You would have loved her. And the empty chair said nothing back. And that silence was the loneliest sound in the world. Then one autumn afternoon, a stranger came to the village, an old woman, walking slowly with a wooden staff, eyes that had seen everything and feared nothing. She climbed the hill, knocked on Joseph's door, and when he opened it, she looked past him, into the house, at the coat, the cup, the chair, and said, "Joseph, how long have you been living in a grave?" She sat with him for 2 hours. She did not tell him to move on. She did not say time heals everything. She simply said, "The people we love do not live in objects. They live in what we became. Because of them, Maria is not in that cup. She is not in that coat. She is in you. She is in your son's hands. She is in the way your granddaughter laughs, without even knowing where that laugh came from. You cannot honor her by stopping. You honor her by living." She stood, walked to the door, and said one final thing. "A house full of yesterday has no room for tomorrow." And she was gone. That night, Joseph sat alone. For a very long time, he looked at Maria's chair, her coat, her cup, and for the first time, in 13 years, he wept, not quietly, not controlled. Something enormous broke open inside him. 13 years of grief, finally, moving. When it was over, he felt something completely new, empty, but clean. The next morning, the village woke to smoke, rising from the top of the hill. People ran, shouting. When they arrived, Joseph was standing in front of his burning house, watching it burn, face completely peaceful. His son pushed through the crowd, voice breaking, "Father, everything is in there." Joseph turned, slowly, looked at his son, and said,
No, son.
everything was never in there. He placed his hand over his heart. Everything is in here, in you, in your children. I kept that house as a cage. I am not ready to be dead yet. His son stood frozen. Then slowly, he put his arm around his father's shoulders, and together, they watched it burn. As the walls fell, for the first time in 13 years, Joseph smiled. A real one, the kind that reaches the eyes and stays there. Joseph moved into his son's home. He ate dinner with his grandchildren every evening. He told them stories about Maria, not from grief, but from joy. He started a small weekly gathering in the village. He called it Maria's Table, not a grave, a living thing, full of people, full of noise, full of life, exactly as she would have wanted. He lived for more years after that fire. And in those 4 years, he lived more than in the 13 that came before. And now, before this video ends, I want to ask you something. What is your house? Not the building you sleep in, but the thing you are gripping so tightly, the grief, the resentment, the old version of yourself that you have turned into a museum. Because here is what Joseph learned. 78 years old, holding on to something that is gone, does not keep it alive, keeps value dead. The greatest honor you can give to the people you have lost is to live fully, completely, without apology. So let me ask you, what would you burn to finally begin living? If the story moved something inside you, share it with someone who needs to hear it today, and subscribe to this channel for stories that don't just fill your time, but change the way you carry your life. We will see you in the next story. Until then, let go and live.